Hello, everyone. On today's triumphant return to live streaming, I am going to open up this new Mac Studio. You can help me set up my new computer. I have a new job to tell you about today. Actually, it's an old job, and so much has changed in the 3+ months that I have just abandoned you. I'm so sorry. I wear glasses now. This is what I look like now. So I thought it'd be fun to do a live stream today to catch you up, to come back. I see Sammy Buka's here. Good to see you, Sammy. Sammy's on YouTube. We're also streaming on Twitch and Facebook and Twitter right now. And then the last thing I'm going to get to today is that I also have a problem or a challenge to solve with a YouTube chat bot, and I'm wondering what ideas you may have. So let's start unboxing a Mac Studio, and I'll tell you why I have this new computer today. Let's see. Got this from B&H, and it came very quickly, just in 2 days. Oops, I threw that right at the camera. All right. Ugh. Let's see, is there anything else in this box? There should be, yeah. Little magic trackpad in black. I didn't even know they made them in that color. I have a white trackpad right now for my iMac Pro that's in front of me, and then I also have an old. Let's see if I can reach back here and get it. I have an old trackpad that I've used for a long time for my original iMac, but figured I'd probably need a new one for this computer. And then let's go back to this shot. Okay, that's everything in that box. I see Brennan's here. Good to see you, Brennan. Brennan, I had to get myself a new computer. So Brennan works with me at the Recount, but actually my last day at this job is tomorrow. And so I have to get rid of this iMac Pro that's in front of me, and I have to send it back to New York. It's their computer. So I've gotten myself a Mac Studio, and I needed to get it quickly. So we'll talk about the configuration I got, but I looked at Apple and it was like 4 to 6 weeks out for these computers. And so I went to B&H. Now here's where it opens. And looked at the configurations B&H had and found one I liked and just about pulled the trigger, asked Nick some questions over text. And then when I went back to buy it, it said 4 to 6 weeks delivery. And I went, and so I had to change my, I actually had to upgrade the configuration to even more SSD space. Brennan calls it a reboxing because we work at the Recount. The Recount. All right, so here's my Mac Studio, and let me show you which one I'm going with here. Let's see. Oh, all my browser tabs refreshed. Okay, let's see. Does this work? Oh yeah, we're in it now. Okay, so yeah, you're seeing the one that I'm getting. I mean, essentially, what I did was I just went to B&H, looked for Mac Studio, said what's in stock, and then decided like I really don't need the Mac, the M1 Ultra. I looked into some benchmarking stuff, and it's like I'm fine with the M1 Max. So I did that, and then I said I'd love to have 64 gigs, and here we are with a few options. I don't want 512 gigabytes. I'd probably be okay with 1 terabyte, but I ended up wanting to buy 2 terabytes. So now I'm wondering, I think I went with a 32 core GPU, yeah. So I think that's why I had to end up with this configuration, the 4 terabyte SSD, because that's what was in stock. So yeah, this is the one I went with. M1 Max 10 core CPU, 64 gig RAM, 4 terabyte SSD, which is overkill. It's $500 more than I wanted to spend, but I figured that's the premium for getting it today. I got it in 2 days. So let's open this up. Let's go back to my main shot here. Kevin Hawthorne is here from Lakeland, Florida. Good to see you, Kevin. Kevin has always been good at showing up for these live streams. Thank you, and I apologize that I've been gone for 3.5 months. So the reason I've been just neglecting my YouTube channel and Twitch for the last few months is that I've been doing a ton of streaming at my company, and I've just been busy and traveling. I think I've been in New York for 12 of the last 13 weeks. And even before that, I was there several weeks. I've just been traveling back and forth a lot and then having no time to do any videos of my own. In fact, many of you have probably noticed that we haven't put out a podcast in a while. We recorded one at the end of April and I still haven't put it out. But this week tomorrow's my last day at the Recount. And so I'm going to get back into more freelancing and attention to this sort of stuff, getting back on Twitch and YouTube. And so I'm excited. So I thought, because I need to replace this computer this week right now, so I can send this one back to the company, might as well stream the process here. And also I decided to go to the eye doctor and get some glasses. I'm 37 years old and this is the first time I've ever worn glasses in my life. So I actually got an iMac or a Mac Studio when I was at work. We needed a computer one day, and so I went over to the Apple Store and I found like the base model M1 Max and picked this up. And I was using it for a couple weeks in the office, but we just didn't need to keep it, and so I ended up returning it. But I was pretty happy with its performance. I like the size of this thing, and it's got this big power thing on the back. It's got Ethernet, 4 Thunderbolt. I think, what do they call them? Thunderbolt 4, USB-C form factor, regular USB-A, and then an HDMI out, and a headphone out, and some power. So let me put that right here. Just right in the middle of the desk. Oh, it looks so nice in this shot. And we'll get our power cable. It comes with a nice little soft canvas power cable. I'm trying to keep all this little paper and stuff nice in case I have to send this back, but I don't plan to. I might as well go ahead and plug this thing in. So who else is here? We got a bunch of people watching on... I don't know, my StreamYard is not letting me scroll through my comments. Huh, that's weird. I can see that there's a comment that I can't see. Sorry about that. Okay. Guess I won't turn it on just yet until I get a keyboard plugged in. I think that's really all it comes with. I mean, that's kind of what's crazy about buying the Mac Studio is no screen, no... there's no keyboard, there's no mouse or anything. So I had to figure out what I wanted. That's why I got the Magic Trackpad. And then, because I have to send back this keyboard to the company, I decided to get myself another keyboard. I have this little one that goes with my other iMac. I have a really old iMac that I should probably just sell or just use as an extra screen. But I like having the number pad on the side. And knowing that I have to send this one back to the company, I figured I'd get another one. But man, these things are expensive. Has anyone ever bought an Apple keyboard? I feel like it's like $170. Let me look this up real quick. Let's look up... Oh, I moved my keyboard. Let's look up B&H Apple keyboard. Yeah, the regular Apple Magic Keyboard is $173. Um, it's cheaper to go with the not number pad one. Oh, yeah, Touch ID. Does this one come with Touch ID, the expensive one? Oh, I guess it does. Wait, and it's more for black. Wait, the black one doesn't even have. Oh, maybe it does have Touch ID. It's hard to tell in this picture. It's so tiny. But yeah, I guess up there, it does have Touch ID. I realize it's kind of funny for me to be doing this commentary picture-in-picture shot with just a keyboard. There I am. So yeah, I didn't want to. It just felt silly to me to buy $173 worth of keyboard. Although, I mean, I have this one for comparison. I can decide if I really like the current one. I'll get another one of these. But I bought. Where is it? Where did I put it? This Satechi one, which looks a lot like an Apple keyboard, and I feel like it was like $80. Let's see what this is like. I appreciate everyone welcoming me back. Yeah, why is this not letting me scroll down to all my comments? I can see them over here. I could see that Adrian Roscon said, "Hey Griffin, nice to see you back." Eric for Cards is here. Good to see you, Eric. Oh, now I'm doing the infinite. Let's get out of this. Let's get back to this shot. I'm a little rusty on my live streaming skills. Although it's been fun over the last 3 months of doing a lot of different streaming setups at work at the Recount, is that now I'm excited to come back, now that I'll have some time working for myself again, to test out some of these strategies and setups that I was playing with. And we could talk about some of that depending on what kind of questions you have. One thing that I've been doing the last few weeks at work that has been really fun is that I was trying a bunch of new cameras, and I got 2 Blackmagic Pocket Cinema cameras, the 4K version that works with Micro Four Thirds lenses, and I also got this. I should just look it up here on B&H. It's the. I had not even heard of this camera. The Blackmagic Studio. I think it's called Studio 4K Pro. And I know Blackmagic over the years has made a lot of like studio cameras, but this model I was not familiar with. Here it is. Yeah, this one. Yeah, $1,700. So like the price of like a Lumix GH camera, pretty much. I mean, they even make a cheaper one, right? I think I bought the more expensive one. Yeah, there's one that's only $1,200. Micro Four Thirds mount. It's an interesting camera because it's kind of only for streaming and broadcast. It doesn't have any internal media. You can plug in an SSD. It has USB-C ports on the side, but it's got a giant 7-inch screen. And one thing that's really cool is that it's got this tally light on top. And I was using it with a Blackmagic A10 Mini switcher. Today I'm using, I have this switcher that wrong one. I have this switcher that I like, the L2 Plus by Feel World. I like that it has a screen built in. But if you don't need a screen, the A10 Mini is a really nice switcher. It doesn't have a screen built in, but it can do a lot of things. And what I love is that it works with these Blackmagic cameras. So when you switch to the camera, the tally light turns on. And even the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema cameras, they have just like a little tiny recording light on them. They turn on when you switch to them. And also you could control all 3 cameras through the A10 Mini software, like set the white balance across all cameras. So it's really interesting, and their price point is pretty good. All of these cameras, I mean, the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K, I think is like $1,200. I know many of you in the comments have probably been espousing your love for Blackmagic over the years and saying, yeah, why don't you get a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera? And this is definitely one reason to do it for live streaming. Some really cool stuff there. So let's get back to opening up this keyboard. Yeah, Eric asks, is the Pocket 4K for work projects or personal testing? I mean, a little bit of both. I was like personally testing it, but for the company. And now that I'm leaving the company, I was trying to leave them with some gear that I think is pretty seamless, works pretty well for streaming, is easy to use. And I think the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema cameras are really nice. I personally love Lumix and all the things I can do in a Lumix camera, but in terms of just like if someone fresh is going to come to the camera, I mean, a Blackmagic camera, the fact that you can like touch the screen, you know, it's a big screen. You can see the white balance right there. You touch it. It's just very intuitive. And the price is a great price point. So let's open up this new keyboard here. Oh, this is a perfect side-by-side here. We got the real Apple one. And we got this Satechi one. It really does look the same. Oh yeah, it's even got, man, this is a good copy. It's got the little tiny power switch right there too. It looks very similar. Yeah, I mean, this is like, the only difference is like instead of Apple Lightning, it's got USB-C here to plug it in. But the size is the same. They call this one slim. I'm wondering if it's as slim as the Apple one. Yeah, pretty much is. It's like exactly the same size. And Adrian says, yes, are you leaving the recount? I am. And this is my last week at the company. It is not sad news for anyone who's wondering. I mean, I'm an optimistic person. I'm always very interested in the future. But it was time for me to stop working there. I don't live in New York, and I was traveling back and forth too much. And it's also good timing that I have a lot of freelance clients asking, what's going on? You available? You around to do some work? So this is a good time for me to embrace the fact that I don't live in New York City anymore and stay here, do some traveling for work, and get back to some of these personal projects that I've been neglecting and getting back into live streaming. So thank you all for joining me today. Luke Westwood says, I've been wondering how you've been doing. Thank you. Good to hear from you, Luke. So, like I said, this is what is this? A $170 or a $170 or $180 Apple keyboard. I mean, I guess this one doesn't have the Touch ID, so it'd probably be cheaper. It's also used. And then this one is like 70 or 80. I can't remember what I spent for it, but let's feel it. I don't know, it feels exactly the same. Yeah, it feels identical. I don't know. What do you think? Would you buy the knockoff? Am I ridiculous for buying like $5,000 worth of computer or like a $3,500 computer and a monitor and then spending, you know, like trying to save $80 on the keyboard? I guess it's not quite as pretty, but it's almost exactly as pretty. I'll have to try it out and see how it goes. I guess I should go ahead and plug it in right now to the Mac, the new Mac. What was that sound? My phone? My phone doesn't make noises. What was that little ding? Eric says, I mean, as long as it works for you and isn't faulty and gets the job done, that's what matters. I forgot that I do have a chat screen I can pop up. Okay, let's see. How would I even plug this thing in? Did it come with a... I don't think it came with a USB-C cable, but I'm sure I have one around somewhere. Let's see. Whoa, these are slippery socks. I almost fell over. That's a USB-C cable. Oh yeah, people were always asking me, like, what is in this cabinet back here? This is where I keep my, I have, like, all my networking equipment, my NAS, and my fiber terminal. Brendan thinks my Apple Watch made noise. Yeah, I think you're right. Why is my Apple Watch making noise? I thought I had everything on silent. But you're exactly right, Brendan. How can Brandon tell the sound of an Apple Watch versus a phone? And Matthew Neiman says, whenever I spend big on cameras, computers, or guitars, my mind always just says, what's another 50 on 3,000? Yeah, no, you're right. I probably should have just gotten the Apple keyboard. I did not get a mouse. I don't really like the Magic Mouse. In fact, I have two of them here. One that goes with my first iMac, which I think is from I don't know when it's from. It's from 2015 or something, or earlier than that. And then this is the Magic Mouse that came with the iMac Pro that I'm using in front of me, which belongs to the Recount. So I got to send a mouse back, but I don't even like a mouse really. Well, the mouse I actually like is this Logitech handshake mouse. It's like a kind of a vertical mouse. This is I think it's called the MX Vertical. So this is what I like to use as a mouse, and then I like to use the trackpad as like a secondary way to navigate, especially in editing. I just like being able to like slide around the timeline by scrolling. Let's plug in this USB-C. Oh, nice. Eric uses the same vertical mouse, the MX Vertical, that I use. Okay, so right now I'm just going to plug in to the back of this new Mac Studio, this keyboard. I'm assuming it works over USB, and that'll be easier than trying to like connect it blind via Bluetooth. We'll get it connected eventually, but I'm assuming when I boot this thing up. I was thinking, is this Mac Studio making little lights on the front right now? It might be. I can't tell if it's the lights in my room reflecting. It might be, actually. It might just be I haven't turned it on yet. But I feel like I'm getting... Oh, you know what? I think it's just my backlight. I think it's this light over here is like getting inside this little status light. I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Focus this a little bit better. If I can reach the focus. There we go. Oh yeah, so yeah, there's the little light, and I think it's like catching the light as I like do this. It looked like it was blinking like a status light, but I have not powered it up yet. Okay, got a computer, got a keyboard plugged in. Now we need a screen, and for that, I have this big thing. Oh. Okay, and so Eric is wondering what made you decide to get the iMac Studio now. It's just knowing that I have to get rid of this iMac Pro that's sitting in front of me, and this is, I mean, I'm going to get more power at a better cost from the Mac Studio than I think I would from an iMac. I guess I'm just no longer interested in that product category when the Mac Studio exists and it's a lot of power in a little box. But I did have to get a display for it, and I thought about getting maybe even like an ultra wide LG or something, but ultimately decided I should just get the studio display. I think that's what Nick recommended for me too. Just said like, you're gonna hate not having the Retina display of a Mac Studio display. And also I realized the more I thought about it, I just thought, if I get a traditional display, then I also need to get speakers, and it's like, do I really need the little webcam that's on the front of this thing? I kind of do, even though I'm usually using this shot for all of my webcamming and stuff. It is handy to have the built-in camera for the times when I'm troubleshooting something and I just need to switch over to the FaceTime camera real quick to like do a test. I realize I'm probably going to want that like seamless Apple experience of having speakers built in that just play and just sound good, and having a webcam. And then also this has more USB-C and Thunderbolt ports on the back, so I'm used to that with my iMac. But this thing is pricey. Let me pull up the page for this. So this thing is $18.99. This was another, like, I spent more to get it quickly because the standard glass is only $15.99. Oh, and it actually is in stock now. It was not in stock 2 days ago. I probably could have gotten a cheaper one. I think Nick is trying to get his hands on the tilt and height adjustable one, but it's, oh geez, 6 to 10 weeks out. I think he's been waiting on his order for a while. And so Nano-Texture, we'll be able to judge for ourselves. Apparently, by having a little bit of texture built in, it kind of like mutes reflections. They can't like bounce off cleanly without, and apparently Apple's Nano-Texture technology keeps that texture from interfering with the crispness of the details coming out of the screen. So presumably, nice crisp screen with less reflection. I have nothing to compare it to. I guess we could compare it to the iMac Pro that's in front of me. But yeah, let's open this up. Oh, also, I want to do a poll in the comments on Twitch. So if you're on YouTube and you can just answer on YouTube, honestly. But I just want to play around with this poll functionality. So this is actually something I've been using at work. This is called, I've been calling it Poll Mappy. It's poll.ma.pe. And I just want to know if you think that, let's see, this should show up in the chat now. I just want to know if you think Apple's nanotechnology glass is worth the extra $300. And let's see, it should pop up here, right? Yeah. If you're on Twitch, you could just type in 1 or 2, or you could just say it in the YouTube chat too. But maybe all of you are on YouTube right now. No, I think Eric's here on Twitch. Maybe he'll see this poll. Oh, there's an answer. You'd think, like all Apple things, this would have like, oh, there it is, yeah. A nice little pull tab here. Open this up. All right, so far, 2 people are willing to spend the extra $300 on nanotechnology. Oh, we got another one. It's unanimous. Everyone is like, nanotechnology, Nano-Texture is awesome. Let's do it. Eric says, I generally say yes, even though 300 is silly. But as Nick pointed out in our podcast episode about this, this is just smart marketing, of course. Any big company with a marketing department should be able to do this effectively. But Apple, perfectly places out these price points that you're like, yeah, if I'm already spending $1,500, $300 more is not too much. I'm sure they know that $350 or $400 would be too much. They said it at exactly what's the maximum we can get out of customers without them feeling completely taken advantage of, which is just, there's nothing wrong with that. That's how you do sales. All right, I'm making a big mess here with all this stuff. Let's go back to the full screen here. Somehow I feel like I'm opening this thing upside down, but this is definitely how you open it. Let me pop this up a little bit higher. I watched some reviews about this and saw some people point out that they were very happy that this is all cardboard packaging now. They have these very soft wings they've created out of cardboard, but there's no plastic in here. I don't even know how to get this thing off. It's hard to do one-handed here. I always try not to rip this stuff in case I'm gonna take it back. So it's got the same canvas covered cable as the Mac Studio. That makes me feel happy that I chose the same product line. Let's put this over here for a minute. It feels so tiny. I'm used to the iMac, so just a standalone monitor. I really expected from the pictures it's going to be as big as a whole iMac. Okay, this thing I can't even fold back. I'm just going to take it to a completely different room. I've already run out of space here. Where am I going to put this thing? All right, how do we squeeze in here? Let's move the Mac Studio to the side. Way over here. That sound you heard is me bumping the new Mac Studio right into a little a glass of water. That should scare you, right? And then put this over here. Okay. I'm gonna move this glass of water. We'll take a sip. All right. Doesn't this look, the iMac behind it, I mean, it is kind of like the effect of a wide angle lens. It's definitely distorting it. But from this vantage point, the iMac Pro is looking gigantic compared to this studio display. So while I'm unwrapping this, I want to ask you a question because as you saw, we did that little quiz for a moment, and I really like this chat bot that I've been using on Twitch. It's called PollMappy, and I use it for a show that I produced for the Recount. It's actually starting in 20 minutes on their Twitch account called Chatterbrain, and Chatterbrain is a news trivia show, and this chat bot. I like that it's pretty simple. You can enter very long question and answers into it, and then the audience, all they have to do is just hit 1, 2, 3, or 4 to answer, and then it compiles them in real time. I've seen other chatbots like this, and I'm curious if you've come across any that you like. But my big question is, what if we were to move completely off of Twitch to just YouTube? PollMappy, it's great, but it only works on Twitch. And I've looked at some options for YouTube. Let me see which ones I've looked at. I've looked at CloudBot, which is on Streamlabs, which can presumably work across both Twitch and YouTube, but it has a few limitations, like the questions are limited to 100 characters, which is kind of annoying. And the thing that drove me crazy there is that to actually vote, you'd have to do a command like !1 or !vote space 1. And I just hate asking an audience to do all that when it's like on Twitch, it's just with PollMappy, it's just 1, enter. That's great. So I wasn't really into CloudBot. I'm wondering, I haven't looked into Nightbot enough to know what it can do on YouTube and if it's any better. The other option is just to do like the native polling function on YouTube. In fact, can I just go to YouTube right now and just do that? Let's test it out live here. To find my own video that is presumably streaming right now. There it is. Can I do... Oh, weird, I'm like not even logged in to my own account. All right, never mind. It thinks that I'm a different Griffin right now. But yeah, I could do native YouTube polling, but then I'd also have to figure out a way to like screen capture it from YouTube into like OBS. I mean, one thing I like about this polling chatbot that I'm using, PollMappy, is that it's web-based and then it just has an overlay output. So it's a really clean thing, and you can edit it with CSS files. I mean, you can like change the look of it and all that. So I love all of that, and I guess I want to know if there's anything like that I can do for YouTube. So I'm curious if anyone has any thoughts on that. Let's keep opening up this thing. And if anyone wants to come with me, I may try to finish the stream up by the end of this hour, because 5 o'clock Eastern time is when Chatterbrain starts. So if you'd like to, we could all raid over there from Twitch. And then if you forgot what you've ordered here, it says Studio Display right on the front. It's kind of weird. I've never really seen Apple packaging like this, where it's just like just plain white paper with a little text on the front. I was trying not to rip it. Not that it's... Okay, I'm just going to rip it now. I've already ripped it. This thing looks so small compared to an iMac, but I guess like the iMac does have all that wasted space on the bottom that's not screen. I mean, presumably these are the same size screen, it's just the bevels are smaller. And so this is a much smaller display. Well, the width is almost the same. I don't know, maybe the iMac is an inch wider. But yeah, this is kind of, and I like the like kind of very square edges to it. It kind of gives me some nostalgia for like the first LCD panel I ever had for a computer. So I'll definitely have to put this up on the up a little bit higher when I eventually install it all the way. Let's plug it in. Now I have 3 nearly identical Apple plugs, black Apple plugs in my surge protector for the iMac Pro here, the new Studio Display, and the new Mac Studio. All right, so it just did something when I popped it on. I shouldn't have taken the whole box away because I'm realizing it must have a USB-C or Thunderbolt cable that goes to the... So let me go find the box again. Here it is. I did play around with, when I was testing out cameras for the recount, I played around with that Lumix BGH1, the little box camera, and that was a lot of fun because you can power it through Ethernet and control it over Ethernet. So I found that I could like just plug it into any Ethernet port in the company, and I think I had to change one setting in the camera so that it was like discoverable across a network, not just plugged directly into the computer. But you could power it through Ethernet and then control it through the tether software, which was really fun. And I can imagine having like 3 or 5 of these cameras and controlling them all at once, and then using them for live streaming. I could definitely imagine replacing this camera up here, because you notice, I don't know if you can see it very well in this shot, but like it's right behind the edge of my iMac Pro, and I can't even see the LCD on it anyway because it's behind the computer. So like I don't even benefit from having the LCD. I might as well have a box camera there that takes up even less space. But ultimately I decided it was not for the recount. I returned it because it's just too hard to tell someone, hey, go set up that camera when you can't even see, when there's no screen built in. Like it really just always needs to have a screen for that kind of, when you have a whole team of people like working with the camera, it just didn't make much sense to have this like blind camera. All right, so this thing also comes with like a soft braided cloth covered cable. I need a bunch more of these like just fast USB-C cables. I don't know how they're rated, and I wish they were labeled in a better way, because I have so many USB-C cables that are fast enough or powerful enough. I don't know whether it's bandwidth or current or both. Some of them can power the GH5 Mark II and it doesn't run out of battery. Like the one I'm looking at right now is great. But then like this camera up here is plugged in right now. Actually, it does seem to be holding its own, but it seems like the cable that I'm using was not fast enough to like hold. I've plugged in some cables that just can't keep up with the battery drain. So let's see, where does this thing plug in? Oh, I guess it's just those 4 ports in the back. Now, one of them shows a little Thunderbolt, which I'm guessing means it's actually a Thunderbolt port. And the other ones might all be USB-C? I don't know. Okay, it's not a very long cable, so it's just barely going to get me to my Mac Studio over here. Maybe I'll just turn the Mac Studio sideways. That's better. And I do have an Ethernet cable down here that's already plugged into my network. I might as well get the Mac Studio on some good Ethernet here. And I think that's all I need. We got an HDMI port I'm not going to use. I did use that when I was using a third-party monitor. There's a headphone jack on the back. There's a USB-A port that I don't need. I'm using one right now for the keyboard. I guess I should flip on this keyboard. Oh, it's already on. I don't know what this like little area on this keyboard is for. It's part of how they build it, I guess. And let's see. And then I have three more ports. Actually, I have a whole bunch of Thunderbolt ports. There's 3 more here on the back. And then I think there's 2 more ports on the front, and they must be USB-C. There's also the SD card reader on the front. So I'm going to power this thing on now. See what happens. It makes the dumb noise that I hate. Does anyone else turn that off on their Mac? I think I've done like there's some like I think I've done it in Terminal before to like remove the ding sound. My least favorite thing about Apple computers is that you'll like plug in headphones or you'll mute the machine, and then when you restart it, it just goes like dong. It's so loud. It's like I have everything turned off sound-wise. Why are you doing this to me? Right now, Alex is asking if hey, I'm back. Let's see, are all my settings still normal? Nope, wrong mic. There, that should be the good mic. Yeah, I was trying to answer Alex's question and then I went away. I'll tell you what happened. This is really funny. This is like a problem with me using StreamYard right now. I went to click on Alex's comment to pin it. Let's show it now. He asked, anyone else getting audio sync issues? I was just trying to show this and I went to click on it, and when I clicked, even though I was clicking the left click and not the right click, it did a right click and it instantly went go back in browser. So I just like left this like studio room I'm in, and I was trying to figure out why. I was like clicking the left button, and it was always doing a right click. And I looked over, I had made this like pile of keyboards over there and realized one keyboard was sitting on top of the control button on the other keyboard. So when you push down control, everything is a right click. So it just like booted me out of the studio, and yeah, I'm not streaming when. Luckily, the stream keeps going because like StreamYard is still in the cloud, doing its thing. It just wasn't receiving my camera and my audio anymore. And then for a second, when I loaded this back up, it was like defaulting to my iMac microphone. So I think you heard a different microphone when I came back, and hopefully now you're hearing the good microphone. Sorry about that. It's kind of fun though to troubleshoot that live. And Alex says the sync looks good now. So all it took was me leaving and coming back. Good to know. All right, let's go. So now this thing is asking me for it wants a keyboard and a trackpad. Might as well turn on my trackpad. Let's see, trackpad. And then in 8 minutes from now, I should raid on Twitch over to the recount and watch Chatterbrain. And if you're curious to check out Chatterbrain, you can check it out because they're filming with those black magic cameras that I was talking about, and they're using a setup that I designed in OBS, and you'll see the poll functionality that I was talking about. Wow, this thing is really matte black. I was expecting it to be like shiny, glassy somehow. I really like this, actually, unless it gets all scuffed up. So I've turned this on. How am I supposed to actually like connect it to the computer? I guess I should plug in. Oh, it does come with, yet again, a braided black cable. Got a lot of these now. Oh, and it's not USB-A, it's USB-C to Lightning. Okay, plug this in. Good thing I have plenty of ports. And okay, I have it plugged in. Oh, it's not turned on actually. Oh, I probably never needed to plug it in. I probably would have found it if I just turned it on. Okay, I'm getting that that hello animation. Hola. Dunk Chunk says, gotta love live entertainment. All right, what else do you need from me? Let's see. Okay, so my next big question for you, I'm going to do another poll here, is, let's see. I'm activating it now. For those of you on Twitch, you'll see this. And I'll pull it up here on the main screen. Wait, is it there? It should be there. Yeah.
Mac OS contains a built-in screen reader called VoiceOver. If you know how to use VoiceOver, press Command F5 now to turn it on and set up your Mac.
I don't want to do that.
Like
no.
To learn how to use
I think because I just waited long enough, Apple was like, yeah, I think you're going to need some help setting up this computer right now. But here's my question to you. I'm wondering, you have a brand new computer like me right now. Do you copy everything over, all the set, like just move them from one Mac to the next? Or do you think that's a horrible idea because you're going to bring problems with it, and you just like to start over, clean, install everything fresh? There's something really appealing about just installing all of this stuff, OBS and Firefox and a million apps, just fresh, and knowing that the computer's nice and clean. But when I get into it and actually do it, I know I'm going to hate myself just having to like do every little setting. Like I have a lot of settings I don't like. Like I don't like I don't know which way it is, like scrolling. I don't like the natural, the one that like mimics the iPhone. I think I want like the reverse one. I end up turning off all the system sounds. I hate it when you shake a mouse on a Mac. It blows up big, so you have to go into the accessibility settings and turn off that like help find the mouse cursor. Just a million little settings like that I prefer to just bring them all over. So I think I'm just going to copy everything from one machine to the next. But I just wonder if any of you believe that's sacrilegious. No votes on Twitch yet, but Ben Milford on YouTube says, fresh install. That's an enthusiastic fresh install. And then GG Matz is wondering, is that small little thing like a drawing tablet or like an iPad? Is this what you're talking about? The trackpad? It's just the Apple Magic trackpad. It's just for like, instead of a mouse. And I learned how to edit on a MacBook Pro years ago, so I just like having a trackpad. And so for a long time, I was even more comfortable with this than a mouse. Eventually, my hands started to hurt all the time, which is why I went to an actual mouse. A handshake mouse seemed to like work pretty well for my hand and my wrist. But now I still like having the trackpad as a way to, kind of with my left hand, like scroll around on things, especially timelines. I like that you can actually scroll sideways. You can do a 2-finger scroll on a trackpad, and it'll scroll. I don't know if I was answering the right question or if you were referring to something else on my desk. Well, my my test of the pole mappy functionality, no one actually voted on Twitch. Yeah, so Gigi says, just a fancy trackpad, all right. The black surface looks like a screen. Yeah, I've never seen a trackpad like this. I had no idea. I mean, even the picture, I just assumed from the box here that it would be kind of shiny, but it really is like matte black. That's pretty cool. But now I'm like more worried about like scratching it up or something. We'll see. Okay, I got a couple minutes before Chatterbrain starts. Over on the Recounts Twitch channel, I'm going to watch that. Interestingly, right now I'm looking at this Mac Studio, the Studio display in front of me, and it doesn't look very high res right now. I'm sure maybe it's because I'm not fully in the OS yet. And it's not my new glasses. Actually, my new glasses do make everything look like a little bit more contrasty. I do think that my glasses are kind of like the difference between 4K and 8K. It's like barely perceptible, and you definitely don't need it. But if you look closely enough, it is sharper. It does have a migration assistant here. And I'm wondering if both my iMac Pro and my new computer are on the Ethernet. I'm wondering if they can migrate over Ethernet, or if I need to plug in some Thunderbolt cable. Eric's got to go. Good to see you, Eric. I'm glad you were here. I'll see you next time. And then in a minute, I should probably raid us over to the Recount and cut off this live stream. So if you have any more questions, get them in now. Let's see. Right now, it just says it's looking for other sources to transfer information to this Mac. And then once I transfer everything over, I'm going to delete everything on this iMac Pro and send it back to the company. I don't know if any of you have erased a Mac recently. I feel like there were all these little things, like you have to turn off, Find My, you have to turn off Find My computer. You'd have to go and do all these little quirky things just to be able to erase everything. Though I feel like when I was erasing a Mac Studio recently at work on the latest OS, I guess on Monterey, it just seemed a lot cleaner. And like it did a lot of the work for you. It was like, hey, by the way, I'm going to turn off Find My when I erase everything. It's like, great, cool. That's what I need you to do. So I enjoyed that experience a lot more. So I made sure to update this iMac Pro that I'm looking at to the latest OS, because I think the erasing process will be simpler. All right. This thing is still looking for other sources. I don't know how it's looking. I mean, if it's looking via Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, it should be able to find this other computer. If it's looking over Ethernet, it should be able to find it. Maybe I need to plug it in. Maybe I actually have to open up Migration Assistant on the other machine. Let's see if I can do that. Yeah, Migration Assistant is open. It says make sure that the other Mac is connected to the same network or directly connected to this Mac. When transferring from another Mac, open the Migration Assistant app in the Utilities folder on that Mac and select to another Mac. Okay, yeah, I guess I just have to click continue here. I have to enter my password. What, it's going to turn everything off? That'll mess up the stream. That's one way to... It's asking me to close Photoshop, which makes me think, is it before we go, let me play a little outro video. Bye-bye.